back. We're back. We're back. Oh my God. So happy to be back in this space with y'all. And I'm seeing some familiar faces in the chat from earlier today. So thank you for staying. Thank you for the new folks who are coming in. We have Jessy J with us today. But before we jump into the conversation, I want to just say again, shout out to our sponsors, Getty Images, who, like I told y'all, like they provided us with 50 free portfolio reviews. Like that's invaluable, like it's priceless. And they're just going to keep doing more for us. So please be sure to sign up for them if you're in the collective and stay tuned for more. I also want to shout out Adobe, who is sponsoring today and a giveaway. So to enter into the giveaway, please remember to use the hashtag BWP Summit and then tag us on Twitter or our IG stories, which is Black Women Photographers, because you could win the full Adobe Creative Cloud suite, which is all of the apps Adobe provides. Or you could win the Adobe Photography Plan, which is Lightroom and Photoshop, which what photographer don't need Lightroom and Photoshop? Like, come on. So don't forget, use hashtag BWP Summit and tag us Black Women Photographers online. Now to introduce y'all to the most wonderful photographer, Jessy J.
Hey everybody. Such a pleasure to be on tonight, this evening. I know everyone's working in different time zones, but very excited to be here today.
Speaking of which, where are you right now? I know you got bases in both Dallas and LA.
Yeah, so I'm in Dallas right now. I go to ATL tomorrow. That should always be exciting. You know, ATL is always popping. I got some one-on-one training sessions there. I'm also doing some photo shoots. And then I come back on Monday. So like I'm literally all over the place. Like I go wherever the money takes me.
Period.
That's how it works. You know, I'm sure you guys all understand the life. So
that part. And Jessy, she just let us know she just left set and is here with us today. So we are so grateful that you took the time. Because it's a busy, busy day.
Yeah, like set time was over at 3, and then I got through that Dallas traffic. Look, I was swerving, and now I'm here. So it's such a blessing to be here. You know, I know I was gonna make it. So I'm very, very excited to talk to all you guys today. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's jump right in. For those who don't know yet and are about to learn, Jessy is a visual artist with a focus on beauty, cosmetics, hair, skin, editorial, and fashion photography. And like I mentioned, has bases in both Dallas and LA. And actually, last year, Jessy did a 2-hour color grading workshop with us. And it was like for free. It was a free color grading series with Photoshop, correct?
Yeah.
So see, we do this kind of thing all the time. So please go to blackwomenphotographers.com and subscribe to the channel because we always have free workshops. Jessy gave us all her knowledge. 2-hour session. Like I already know.
No, I want to touch on that real quick though. So like originally it was supposed to be an hour long. And like I was, you know, I really thank Polly, and it's like a little emotional because it's one of those things that if I didn't have that conversation with her and this entire organization, I feel like I wouldn't have come out with the courses that I just recently created. It almost like pushed me to like make it happen. I've always, you know, been very big on what I do. I love what I do, but I've also have felt that imposter syndrome. So I think for the longest, I've had people like, hey, when are you going to come out with the classes? As soon as I started thinking about it, I overthought the whole process. I was like, what do I actually have to offer to these individuals? I started doubting myself. And it wasn't until I had that conversation with Polly and we did the whole, you know, color grading workshop. I was like, first off, I was like, I think I could probably explain this in 10 minutes. Well, 2 hours into it, she was like, it's time to wrap it up. Like people got to go home. People got to put their babies to bed. You know, it was one of those things where I didn't realize that I actually have a lot to share with the world. And it's okay to be confident in your craft and confident in your knowledge. I doubted myself. And it wasn't until that conversation, I was like, you know what? I took something that I thought would take 10 to 15 minutes to explain into 2 hours off one baby topic. And I finally rolled out all these courses, one-on-ones, sessions with beauty photography and whatnot. And I do thank Polly and I do thank the Black Women's Photographer Organization for pushing me forward to share that education and training with others, because I do feel like it's very selfish of me. I would not feel right, doing all this work in the photography community and not sharing it with my peoples. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have you back too, to just share more and more gems. Like, what a blessing.
And I see somebody 10 p.m. in the UK. Okay, but we here. Okay, now.
Period. And I also wanted to shout out Nancy Lane. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but they said, I remember that one. It was so good. And I reference it as I edit. So like, look, the gems just keep coming. Like, you keep helping people. And that's what this collective is about.
When I tell you, I was so nervous about that call, because I was like, man, I need to come correct, because I'm not a technical person. I think the majority of people in this room, they haven't had that technical training. A lot of us are self-taught creatives and photographers. And, I've been around a lot of technical people, and sometimes it is a little intimidating. It's like, do I share things in such a technical way that, would be intimidating to me? So I realized, I was like, no, people want for me to break things down in layman's terms, Let me explain things to you how I would like things to be explained to me when I first started. So I realized, I found my place in this whole photography education world, and yeah, it's working out for me.
I love it. I love it. So I want to talk more about that as we get in. I know we're going to be talking about like motherhood today and how you balance this like ginormous creative career and being a mother. But I want to get into like just you becoming an artist first. So I know, because I read, I think from Polly's write-up about you, that you have.
This was an amazing write-up. Man, that girl, she is.
Polly can do it all, really. Like queen of all queens. Like
Polly, like
truly, we stand.
She is amazing. I know she has given people so many opportunities, like that are within this chat and beyond. I thank her for so much. But yeah, anyway, she is like a master when it comes to writing. She's awesome.
Yeah. Exactly. And like I said, a really beautiful write-up. But you have artistic parents. So I'm wondering, what did your parents do? And like, did they encourage you to be an artist, or like, how did you find yourself here?
Okay. It's not a crazy story, but it's kind of funny how things just like how I'm here today. I did not expect for this to happen. So I have two parents. My mom, she's Black. My dad's white. My dad was an artist. My mom was in corporate America. She worked in human resources for 20 years. My dad was very much a free spirit. A lot of people said he was a hippie. Like, I'm talking like, he was straight up hippie, even until like his older years. My mom was like more rigid, strong Black woman, very, supportive of everything I did, but she wasn't as encouraging when it came to like, going outside of the corporate America world, but she still had that artistic blood in her, which is actually really crazy to think that even with her being in corporate America, she like does pastel art. She has a room. When I visit her for holidays, she has a room that is her pastel room. Like, she literally has pastels all over, art all over. She teaches my daughter how to draw. It's amazing. So she is actually a huge advocate of the arts and creative expression. But my dad was like full throttle. I mean, but he was a starving artist. So my dad, he did everything under the sun. He did photography. He did calligraphy. He did graphic design. He did painting. He did sketching. He even did cartoons for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He did everything under the sun. He did pottery. Like, I can't even tell you, it was a hustle and grind. And when I think about it, I'm like, man, I wish we had Instagram like back in the day, because for real. And the fact that he did not have that resource, it really was truly a word of mouth experience for him. Like, as who is going to book him is like, he has to be out there, be seen, go to art galleries, show off his work, where I could do everything in the convenience of my home and promote my work, shoot off a post, and get some bookings afterwards. So I feel like times have changed for the better for artists. I'm now seeing so many artists that are, making 6-7 figures off their craft. Yeah, that was not the case back in the day. So watching my dad, I literally saw him as a struggling artist, and I was not inspired to become one myself. It wasn't in, like, it just wasn't in the cards. I knew I wanted to go the route my mom was going, she had that stability in like her bubble. And I needed that as well. That's something that I like geared more towards. So like I literally went to school to work in corporate America. Like I did nothing in the arts. Even in high school, I remember I took a photography class. I think that was the first time I got a C in one of my classes. I was an AB student. That was the first time like I got the worst grade. I was like, what? Oh, all things I got a C in photography. I just wasn't taking it seriously, but I did appreciate the arts, but I just didn't think that I would become an artist myself.
Yeah.
I remember, I know I've shared this with Polly before and others that, you know, when parents were taking their kids to the zoo, like I was getting taken to art museums. So like I really appreciate the arts. But again, like you can appreciate the arts and not want to be an artist. Like I really had no desire. Like it was not happening. So anyways, fast forward, I moved to Dallas. After I graduated from college, I took a 9 to 5, getting paid like nothing. The salary is just like, it's laughable. I don't even know how I survived on that. But I already knew right off the bat, I was like, look, I'm going to be this close to not be, you know, in like basically having a roof over my head. So basically at that point, I was like, I need to juggle a couple things. I need to figure out how to get like a little side hustle going so I can really make this work. So I ended up, you know, getting into modeling, and I did the modeling thing in Texas. It was a thing. In St. Louis, it was not. And that's originally where I'm from. Mm-hmm. So I got into it as like straight up beginner, like really just like dabbling in all different walks of life when it comes to modeling, you know, doing magazine photo shoots, but then also doing like music videos, doing promo modeling. I was just really just doing whatever I could to pay the bills. But anyways, I found myself literally always paying attention to the videographer, especially the photographer, and just seeing how they do things, like watching how they were lighting. I, at one point, was like, hey, can you guys send me the photos and I'll just edit them myself? So then I got into like editing my own photos that the photographer would take of me, because like I just wasn't always into it. I think the time that I was modeling, that was when perfection was everything. You know, I think right now, you know, people are scaling back, which I'm so happy about. People are scaling back as far as like perfectionism. People want things that are more attainable in the photography world, especially even when you're shooting beauty. A lot of these beauty clients are like, look, like we need this to be attainable and achievable goals for our audience, because these picture perfect photo shoots is just not selling anymore. But anyways, back in the day, that's what was in. And I realized that I got to liking the whole retouching process as well. In addition to, you know, figuring out how they were setting up lights and whatnot. And one day it just occurred to me, I was like, I'm in Dallas. There's a whole bunch of models out here. And there's like maybe 3 photographers that I can think of that people go to and book for shoots. So I was like, how about I make myself the 4th or whatever the number was? I mean, there's tons of photographers out here, but there was more models and people on the other side of the camera. And there was just a few photographers, like go-to ones. And I was like, I need to be a part of that. And considering how much I'm already liking what they do, let me just like go all in. So I started working bottle service at a club. I was around like literally like selling bottles like as a waitress. And, I would literally, it sounds so cliche, I was putting money in a shoebox, like, and I really did this. I put money into a shoebox until I had thousands of dollars in my shoebox, and I bought all my equipment and my camera.
Come on, there you go, because we got to do what we got to do.
And I literally told myself, I'm gonna go ahead and do this until I get this money, get these funds for this equipment, and then I'm gonna stop. Because like I was the worst bottle service waitress. Let me just go on a little tangent. When I tell you, I was just angry. I was like, I knew I did not want to be there. I literally went into it just so I can get this money, so I can get this. It was so bad. I was like, what do you want? Like, what is okay? Like, I was just one of those. Like, it wasn't. That was never in the cards for me. That was a means to an end. So, anyways, I got my money. I got my equipment. I literally didn't even like roll it out. Like, oh, let me just start in natural light photography. Let me go ahead and just pick up this camera and we'll just see where things go. I was like, no, I'm gonna get this money and I'm gonna get all this equipment and I'm gonna be a photographer and make a lot of money. I just like, I just manifested it. I was like, I'm not gonna just slowly ease myself into this. It's like all or nothing. And with the goal to end my 9 to 5. Like I just in my head one day just decided that it's time. Let me just try this, but let me go all in. Like I just don't like to ease my way into situations. So I mean, that's basically, how I got into the whole photography game. And then it's like testing on people and like getting the clients that I have today. I started working on my mom, my beautiful mom. I started working on her, started working on my friends. I've been blessed with just like beautiful surroundings. I just, just test on whoever I could. Literally in my apartment, I would buy a strip of fabric, like maybe 2 by 4 feet of fabric. I would paste it up on the wall. I had my lights that I bought because I had all that money to like invest into my photography, and I would shoot everyone in my house. At one point, I started getting paid for clients. I would still have them come over to my little janky apartment. I didn't even care. Like it was a hustle and grind. I was like, look, you're gonna get these pictures. I don't care that you up and like right next to my kitchen doing this photo shoot. Like you're gonna get these
we gotta do.
Right.
Exactly. That's the part about it. Like if anybody here in the chat, which I mean I do see y'all, I see some familiar names.
Oh yeah, let me take a look. Look, I'll be going on all those tangents.
No, it's good because it's such a through line. Like all day we've been talking about kicking down doors. And it's like you have to manifest, you have to have the faith and the confidence in yourself, but then you put in that work. And look, like you made it happen for yourself. And I'm just so happy.
Oh yes, yes.
So thinking about that, like you put in that grind, you going hard, you're like, I'm about to do this, this, and this, and I know what my end goal is. At what part of your journey did you have your daughter? Which, if you don't mind, do you want to share her name?
Oh yeah, Nevaeh. Nevaeh.
Oh, we love Nevaeh. Come on.
She is just the cutest little gem. She's 7 years old. Man, she's super creative. She wants to be a singer, a chef, and a fashion designer.
Yes.
I'm not interested in being a lawyer. She don't want to work in corporate America. Like that's her life. And I really feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that like I have been in creative arts for so long. She's watched me hustle and grind. She don't really see any other way. And it's kind of funny to like see what she is aspiring to become, because I aspire to become like my mom, who was working in corporate America, and that's what I wanted to be. So I definitely have rubbed off on her. She hasn't seen me really do the corporate America thing. I think when I first started, I did juggle the 9 to 5 and the photography life for just a little bit. But I have been doing this for a little over 10 years. My daughter's 7. So about 3 years in, that's when I had her. But it was still very risky. I just didn't know what direction to go. I feel like probably about 5 years in, I feel like I am where I need to be. Photography is my path. Sorry about that. Hold up. The styles of photography that I'm in is definitely what I'm going to stick with, because I know that was one of the things that I struggled with, like very much. I think the first couple years I was like, okay, should I get into shooting children? Should I shoot weddings? Should I shoot, family portraits? Or should I shoot these damn models? And with you, when I first started, I was like, I'm not going to shoot these models. I refuse, because I knew it was just, I think the models that I was working with, I definitely I love some of the people that were in my surroundings, but I also knew I was like, it might be a little bit difficult for me. And I ended up, just naturally moving back into shooting models. But originally I was like, let me shoot these families. Let me see if I can dabble into, maternity shoots and whatnot. And it just, I still do maternity stuff, but I do it with a little pizzazz, your average maternity shoot. But I'm back into where I didn't see myself, and I'm actually enjoying it very much. Everything's been lovely.
That's really beautiful. In fact, while we're talking about this, I'll pull up your work in a second so folks can see, because it is some pizzazz. Like when she says she shoot beauty, babe, she shoot beauty. It's gorgeous.
I do
not. So I'm really curious to know, how do you feel being an artist and a full-time creative, like really affects how you parent your daughter, as Nevaeh is watching you grind and like make shit shake, to be just frank. Like, how do
Yeah,
you think that affects your motherhood?
man, it's been crazy. Again, like the imposter syndrome, I definitely have felt that for probably the majority of my photography career. I'm like, do I even deserve to be here? Um, I have had that self doubt, and I feel like those things, your work life can trickle into your personal life, how you take care of your children. And I realized I really needed to, you know, kind of change my way of thinking, change my daily routine. Um, the thoughts that enter your head can really, manifest into something beautiful or something really ugly. And I realized every time I started to have that self doubt and fear, those things would come to life. So I've gotten into this whole process of, every day I have like, a little routine. It ain't always like that. Like I really give props to people that can stick with a routine every single day, and never divert from it. I'm a mom, so and things be all over the place sometimes. But I do try to make sure that in the mornings I am prayed up, I'm manifesting, I'm writing down my goals. I make sure I get a little exercise in, and those two things alone have just like really helped clear my head. Writing my goals down has been everything for me. Some of the things that I have wanted to accomplish in my photography career, like I wrote those things down and I saw myself checking them off, month by month, year by year. I see those things come into life. And I think it's just, writing those goals down, the power of manifestation, the power of prayer, power of just like really believing yourself. It really is been very, very key for me. And because of those things, I've been able to really just give her a safe space to express herself. And, I know some parents out there, they encourage their kids to, be a lawyer, be, an astronaut, something in that zone where maybe, yes, you do have to take years and years of school to make it happen. But for her, she wants to be in the arts. She wants to be creative too. One of like her two of the three things that she's obsessed with is cooking and fashion design. And I think, years ago, I probably would have pushed her away from that. And now I'm like, look, let's make it happen. What do you need? Like, and it's so fun having this conversation with her, even at like her age, being 7 years old, figuring out how we're going to make this stuff like come to life. So I got a girlfriend. She's a Black-owned swimwear designer, Shira Swimwear. Some of her stuff is on the page that you can see right now. I was like, hey, look, sis, like I need to bring my daughter through because I need her to know that she could like really get into fashion design.
Yes.
So I do those things. I make sure she has a support system like I do so we can make things happen. And it was funny. She was like, okay, so what other friends you got that like got stuff going on? Which one of your friends is a cook? And this is my 7-year-old daughter.
That's so cute.
Grace of God, I have one of my girlfriends. She has a blog, black-owned blog. What's for dinner? She's been doing, all different kinds of like Cajun type cuisines, and I brought her over there so she could cook with her. So I've just been trying to like push her into like just being creative, and I'm all about her expressing herself. I definitely set boundaries with her. I'm strict in some areas, but I think it's opened me up over the past couple years to just kind of like work with her instead of like stop her from really pursuing these dreams. And she's stuck with it. Like she's not, thinking about what she wants to be and switching it up every 10 seconds. No, she is consistently for the past couple years, she wants to do these things. So I'm like, you know what? Let's see what we can make happen. I didn't even know what I wanted to do until I was in like my late 20s. So this is beautiful. Like this, I don't even remember talking about really what I wanted to be when I was her age. So I am pushing this as much as possible. I'm just allowing her to be free and express herself as best as I can possibly do. So yeah.
That's so real. Like, I feel like you really fortified a whole community for her to be like, here's your introduction into what your life can look like. And even the freedom to be like, that can change. It could be the chef or the fashion designer or both at the same time. But like, basically, like, let me know and I will provide. And I love that because, I mean, one, not every kid has that opportunity to see themselves do it.
Right.
Like, it's like, oh yeah, I could be a fashion designer. I really love fashion. But like, we all know, like, as we get older, sometimes that encouragement decreases and you feel discouraged because you can't see yourself in it. You don't know the Black photographers or fashion designers or chefs.
Right.
So I think that's so beautiful. And I was like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that is key. That is very, very important. You know, my dad's white, right? Look, I have my sides. You know, I have like my white side, my black side, but I will say that when you come into this space, you know, you start seeing that you are the minority, and you got to really, like, you know, fight to get to the top sometimes, you know. I think that there was times where I was discouraged because I didn't see anyone that looked like me, when I got into these bigger commercial shoots, and I was like, is there a place for me? So that that has been, you know, challenging. I think over time, you know, they are starting to open up the doors, and whenever I can find an opportunity to bring my people in for various different opportunities, I do, because I think it's really, really important to just show, that, you know, people that look like us can actually move up, and they don't have to, you know, um, just feel discouraged for what they're doing and feeling that imposter syndrome like what I did. So I do try to, you know, share as much knowledge as I can, so those people can feel confident walking into those situations, you know, in the space that I'm currently working in the commercial photography space. So
in growing, like, within commercial photography, I mean, I know you mentioned, like you said, like the consistency of the routine gets difficult, but like how you still pray and you like work out as often as you can in the mornings. Do you ever take your daughters to shoots or anything like that so she can like witness you on set? And then like what systems do you have like as reminders for her while you're on set to be like, you know, kind of like envision yourself. Like you could be any person on this set right now. Like you don't have to be me kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no. So I realized that I can't push my photography on her. So at one point I was like, hey, do you want to be a photographer? Like, you want to be my assistant? And she was like, nah, I really don't want to be a photographer. Like, I want to be a fashion designer. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But do you want to at least learn what I do so you can see how I create? So she does come to my photo shoots. I think early on she was like, let me hop into a couple of these pictures. So I had to stop for a second because she would like literally try to like throw the whole photo shoot day off trying to be up in the pictures with the people that I'm shooting. But she has attended many photo shoots with me. She is a sign model out here with Campbell Agency. So she is like, she knows how to be in front of the camera and everything. But it has been an awesome experience where, you know, I think originally she was like, oh, I got to go to mommy's photo shoot. Now she's like, hey, can I go to a photo shoot? Because I think she just wants to see me create. It's not necessarily like her feeling like she's being forced to become a photographer. She just wants to be around creatives. And that's such an exciting thing, just to see her at that young of an age, just wanting to be around people that I want to surround me on a day-to-day. You know, just every day. Just, I need my creatives. I need people that are open-minded, and she wants that too. So it's really awesome.
What do you like hope that she's holding on to as she's watching you grow? Like whether literally on set or not, but just like she's witnessing you grind and also win. What do you hope she's taking from that as she's getting older?
You know, she tells me often, she's like, Mom, you tell me all the time that I can literally do whatever I put my mind to. And when she, you know, I always tell people too, like, you can tell your kids like whatever you want, but if you don't follow up with actions, they are not going to believe anything you say. So she comes on set with me, she can literally see the things that I'm telling her come to life. she sees me taking charge. She sees me confident in, you know, where I'm at. And it's just a beautiful thing. So
I love that. I want to open up the chat in a second because we got like everybody is showing you love right now. Like I'm
what's
sorry.
up, girl? Look, I've been just focused on you, and I've seen all these questions and shout outs. How you doing? What's up?
Right. We got McGreca. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. That said, I love the skin on her work. Like, and I mean, as a beauty photographer, you know, the skin is gonna skin. Like,
Yes,
so do
skinny.
you retouch? You retouch all of your work?
Okay, so I started off retouching all my stuff, all of it. And it was a very tedious process. And I got to the point where I was like, man, I am not going to be able to hit these deadlines. So I did start to outsource. And I realized, and I'm sure everyone could probably, you know, relate to this, is that some of these retouchers, first off, there's not a lot of Black retouchers. And then second off, the retouchers like idea of beauty is very different from one person to the next. And so I have obviously a lot of women of color with different features, all beautiful. But first off, if I'm sending you something, please do not change any of the features. I did not ask you for all that. Please just do the bare minimum. Like I just need you to do the stuff that I don't feel like doing. Like, let me do the rest. But I would send stuff off and I'd be like, okay, why'd you make her nose skinnier? You know, why are you like reshaping her face? I didn't ask for that. So I ended up having to go back to the drawing boards. I'm like, shoot, I gotta keep on doing this. And then I realized, you know, I can send my stuff off and just make sure that I communicate, you know, the things that I want to a T, and then still put my touch on it on the back end. So I still touch every single photo. And I still do like full retouches for a lot of my stuff. Times have changed. I think everyone is hopefully well aware that less is more. You know, we don't need to go for picture perfect. Granted, I'm in the beauty world, so obviously there's some things that are a little bit more, you know, perfected, but I have scaled back myself, and I'm constantly trying to find things that I can do to make my images look more attainable to the consumer that is viewing them, because I am in that commercial beauty and fashion world. There are some images that I've recently put out where I don't retouch at all. I just do some color grading, or I'll do a 5-minute retouch, and I will literally just get rid of a pimple. And, you know, I really am just so happy that I can go that direction now. First off, it saves me time. And then on top of that, like, you know, it's just the world that we're in. I don't want people looking at my images thinking that I can't be like that girl, you know?
Yeah.
We're all beautiful, and we don't need to change for anyone else out here. You know, I think with the social media era where, and I say we, but, you know, a lot of people do compare themselves to others. And I do want things to be more attainable in the world that I'm in, because imagery is everything right now.
Yeah. So, I'm curious, like, how do you think Nevaeh is like witnessing that part, especially just her being so young? And I think in the world we live in, but in particular, the country we live in, so much is geared or advertised towards women and young girls from a very young age about what is attainable to them, what they should look like or shouldn't look like.
Yeah.
What steps or like things or tips do you share with her to just let her know like she's beautiful as she is right now?
Oh yeah, I always encourage that. You know, she'll see some of the makeup ads I do, and she's like, oh, I want to do some makeup on my face. I'm like, you know, you don't need that. You know, I used to play in makeup when I was little, Navi. You could do the same thing. It's all good, but just realize you don't need any of that stuff, even when you're an adult. She is very secure in her own skin. She already knows she's beautiful as is, which is an amazing thing. I don't see herself, you know, I don't see her comparing herself to others. And I think because I've instilled in her, like, you don't need any of that. And she's seen the process on set. She sees the person come in, you know, with nothing on and they're glammed up. She realizes they're not waking up like that. You know what I'm saying? So because she sees that process, she knows, she's like, okay, this ain't real. Like, it's okay. I don't have to be that girl. So, but a lot of people don't see that process. You know what I'm saying?
They
Like,
just see the final ad and they're like,
yeah,
oh,
you
that
see
girl
the
woke up
final
like that.
product, and a lot of people are putting out the best version of themselves online. So, yeah, she knows it's a process, and obviously, like, her just being on set has helped out immensely because she really doesn't care about that stuff. She likes playing around in makeup. I think like girls like to play in mommy's makeup and shoes and stuff like that. But she knows like it's not a big deal. Like she doesn't have to like be that girl she sees in the pictures that I shoot.
That's so good. Like she's getting the behind the scenes of it all. And yeah, from a very early age, have a different
Mhm.
understanding than I think maybe the average girl is as we're
Yeah,
like being bombarded with ads, to be
right,
honest.
right. Yeah.
We got a couple questions for you I want to get to, which I really would love to talk about.
That's right.
Naoye in the chat says, with AI coming into play, how are you navigating the change? I love this.
I ain't even worried about it. I am not
Oh,
even
I
worried.
know that's right. Come on, Jessy.
I'm gonna tell you right now, like with commercial photography, with the clients that I got, look, if they start going AI, then they're replaceable as well. Like once you start incorporating, like I understand AI can help in, for me, I've used it just a little bit when it comes to maybe coming up with ideas, especially if I'm like in my thoughts, I'm like, let me just type something up to give me some clarity and see if like they're on the same page as me. But when it comes to arts, like the actual, these AI creators, literally creating things that look like photographs, I'm not worried about it too much because it puts everyone out of a job. It puts photographers, the models, the makeup artists, the hairstylists. I mean, I think we're all going to protest to that. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's a time and place for it. People want to see real and relatable at the end of the day. I mean, I still see tons of ads out there. They are not going that AI route. In fact, they're like removing themselves as far away from it as possible. So I'm actually not worried about it at all. I've even seen people like, oh, what about like the AI retouch and stuff? I'm like, look, I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna be just like the retouchers that we're hiring right now. Like the retouchers can only do so much, but it's not going to add your DNA in there. So, like I said before, I still have to touch every single image. If I do have to outsource or something, I still have to touch it myself. So AI is only going to get you so far. It's not going to be like, oh, let's just go to AI and then everything is going to work itself out. Like I feel like it still needs a human touch, and yeah, I'm not worried about it.
I'm so glad you said that because I really feel like folks are out here fear mongering for real. Like,
I really don't.
and I get it, like this new technology, like new technologies before, like they do shift the landscape. They shift the culture of how we might do business or how we might interact with each other. But I truly believe like if everyone on set is replaceable in this way by just a system, that like nobody's really gonna go for that. Like
Right,
at the end of
right.
the day, like if we're not touching it, like we still need the nuance of humanness, of a human eye, of a human touch. And like I just feel like it's too important for AI to really take over everything.
Yeah,
I
I
still
think
appreciate your
people
question,
are
Away.
really going to push back on that, because everyone thinks like, oh, they're after the photographers. Well, they after the models. They really after like everyone in the creative arts. I mean, I really feel that there's going to be a lot of pushback. So I'm not worried about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also have, oh, Helen says AI is extremely fun. And it is. I've like played around with it and it is fun.
Yeah,
Um,
it is. It is.
McGregor says, what are the best platform sources to get noticed on your foot in the door as a beauty photographer?
A lot of my clients, they have found me through Instagram. Like social media has really been where it's at. When I first started, I just used to reach out to influencers when that was a thing. Now it's like everybody's an influencer, content creator, whatever. But back in the day when it was like there was really influencers out there, I would just randomly reach out to people like, hey, you want to shoot? Hey, you want to shoot? Like I would offer like a trade, for photos. And, sometimes like they won't respond, sometimes they do, and they're like, yeah, let's make it happen. So at that time, I was really using like that free marketing to really get my foot through the door. And it took me getting just a few big clients for everything else to just kind of like, work itself out. So you don't need tons of big clients. You just need one or two to really help you, like get you in that right direction, and you good. So, social media for sure. I know there's definitely like a shift where people are moving to TikTok, but I do feel like there's still very much a place on Instagram, especially for photographers, because our stuff is still it's not video. Um, when I go to TikTok, I'm sharing more education more than anything. But yeah, that's definitely still where it's at. Um, but I'm also very big on the power of word of mouth because I just make sure that I'm treating every one of my clients as the best client in the world. I act like everybody got money. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't treat any client like they're less than anybody else. I'm like, hey, you got the funds to make your vision come to life. I treat them like royalty, every single one of them. I try to give them everything that they need, and they do. Look, they pay me very well, and it's been a beautiful thing. And I always am big on just manifesting the best clients. Like I always tell myself, I got the best clients. They always want to pay me a lot of money, and I'm
Yes.
giving them a lot of really great visuals, and that's that. So yeah, it's been a beautiful thing. Like I never talk crap about my clients. Like my clients have been great to me, and I treat them well, and that's that. And that word of mouth has just been everything for me. So I do have a lot of people like, hey, my friend, told me about you, or I saw you shot such and such stuff. Like I'm friends with them, and I need something for my campaign. And that has been everything for me. So
There you go. And then Dontrielle, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. They said your portfolio flows so beautifully. How do you go about structuring it?
thank
It
you.
really does. Your site is so gorgeous.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, as you can see, I'm very big on shooting, just women and women of color. I do try to switch it up. So, you see that diversity in, every segment as you're going through, you're seeing diversity all throughout. And I strategically structured it that way where it was like, if I saw a section that wasn't very diverse, I would move some images around just to kind of give it that feel. I want it to be as relatable as possible. So any shape, size, color, um, gender, they can relate to what's going on. And yes, I got men in there, but in this day and age, I've shot everything under the sun. But I do want to make sure that people feel seen. People feel that like they, I don't know. I have people that shoot with me. They're like, man, I just don't feel comfortable shooting with this type of photographer. And thank you for just making me feel beautiful. And I love the fact that you have shot people that look like me. So I try to just do a little scan on my website every so often, especially when I upload new photos, to make sure that I'm still keeping that flow. Also, on top of that, I know one of the things that I was struggling with when I first started was like, what route am I going to take? And I kind of wanted to like tap into everything, but like I said, I realized I found my voice in like the beauty, the swimwear, just showing off beautiful women of color, all that, and women empowerment. And I found like that was like my little niche, and I've just stuck with that, and it's worked for me very well. So I highly suggest if you're shooting a whole bunch of different categories, maybe like niche down just a little bit. You'll probably get more clients and probably more high paying clients because people do want to hire an expert in that field. There are some people that, get tons of work from spanning from all different categories, but I found that if you just kind of focus on a few things, you are going to find your people, you're going to find your audience, you're going to find your the best clients. So yeah.
Beautifully said. And Debbie Goodrich wants to know more about the process. So they ask about the retouches. Do you use a team of makeup artists or do you just use post photo retouches?
Oh, I could go into this for a long time. Look, your team is so valuable. Like, I am so big on having bomb hair and makeup artists. Like, I don't try to rely on retouching whatsoever. In fact, a lot of my photos right now are scaled back like heavily on the retouching because the makeup and the hair was like immaculate. It was perfection.
Mm.
You got to think like, I mean, think about these people that are going out on like a red carpet event. Are they thinking like, you know, they're getting tons of like paparazzi taking photos of them? Are you thinking like, oh, once somebody, a paparazzi member takes a photo of me, oh, they can just fix that? No, they need to come out looking flawless. Okay. So
Mm.
I treat my photos like it's a red carpet event. Like I need that person to look like everything is perfect. Again, we're not going for perfection, but again, if flyaways, you know, makeup's like out of place, let's fix that all prior to shooting. It doesn't make sense to do any of that on the back end because time is money. I don't got time to do all that fixing. So, yes, get a good hair and makeup artist team. I also do feel like you are only as good as your taste. So, and I really, really like, I preach this as well. It's like, okay, you can know all the technicals of lighting and like maybe you think you have like the best hair and makeup artist, but really be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of like who's doing it well in this industry and see what they are doing. Like this image right here, barely retouched. This beauty image that you're looking at. And obviously you can't see all the texture, but
Right.
there wasn't much done. I wanted to see her freckles. The makeup, when I tell you, it was looking that perfect straight out the camera. It was just little tweaks I had to make. I didn't have to do much. So, anyways, um, back to what I was saying is like you're only as good as your taste, and train your taste buds as much as possible for whatever categories that you're shooting. See what the successful people or the creatives that you aspire to be like, see what they're doing. Not necessarily don't emulate them or imitate them, but like just be aware that their stuff is getting noticed, it's getting them work. And you know, if you're not getting booked and your stuff's looking really far off from that, then maybe reevaluate like, you know, what you're doing and just start looking at other people's work. I think that is very important. And I don't like to imitate what other people are doing, but I like to be aware of what's going on around me so I can elevate. So you can still have, you know, your little touch or the thing that makes you unique as a creative, but be aware of your surroundings so you know that you're going in the right direction. And I'm, you know, look, I want you to be creative like as much as possible, but at the end of the day, there's just some things that might not get you to that end goal, and you just got to be aware of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, you got to be very critical of what you're doing.
And like, listen, y'all, like I know y'all are picking up on all these gems and like literal education that
Mhm.
Jessy is dropping. And that's why she has Jessy J photoeducation.com,
Mhm.
because she does this for a living. She drops her own one-on-one classes, workshops, online courses, and even more resources with the presets, which is some of my favorite things. Like you have full presets. So make sure y'all visit her
Mhm.
website and like check out everything she has to offer. Um,
Yeah,
do you want to talk a little bit about presets? I personally love
yeah.
rich,
So
delicious presets.
again, shout out to Polly because if it wasn't for her, she was the one who connected me with Adobe Lightroom. And
Mhm.
if any of you guys do have Adobe Lightroom, if you see the edgy preset pack on there, that's already part of Adobe Lightroom. I created that. So I created that with them, and it was just, man, I appreciate Polly for that so much. She made the connect and we made it happen. And they were really happy with what we put out together. But I also put out my own presets. So I do have my Jessy J photo presets, you know, for beauty and for fashion, swimwear, and just like on location shoots. Obviously, really focusing on women of color because I did feel like there was a lack in that area. You know,
Mhm.
especially when you working with like red and deep skin tones. I just wanted to make sure that there was some stuff that catered to those complexions. And then as far as like the education goes, man, I'm doing one-on-ones Like when I go to ATL, I'm doing one-on-ones where people can literally book me for 3 and 7 hour one-on-one sessions, and I customize everything to their needs. So I have sessions where I offer like lighting and equipment education. I have sessions where I just do retouching. Then I do some sessions where I teach all the above. And then I have my beauty photography blueprint online course, which is a 5 hour course that I pre-recorded. And it's more of a consolidated training for those that are maybe in the UK or somewhere else in the world that can't really get to me, and they can learn more about equipment, technical, retouching, post processing, all that fun stuff for a discounted rate. But I do some virtual one-on-one trainings as well. So yeah, it's been a blessing. I really do feel like, just starting off of that color grading workshop that I did, back when with Polly, like that really helped push me into making all this happen. And all this stuff took me about like a year to develop. So it was a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, but it was all worth it.
That's so real.
ATL, I'm gonna be tomorrow. I'm going to ATL tomorrow. Yep. I'll be there till Monday night. So if you really wanted to try to make something happen, I might have something available Monday morning, but Saturday and Sunday I think are tied up.
Which, speaking of locations, Helen Menard asks, the locations of your shoots are so amazing. Where do you find them? How do you find these gorgeous locations like this?
I am constantly looking up locate. Yeah, that was actually in Mexico, in Tulum, at an amazing Airbnb location. We also have amazing like set build outs. So this right here, you're gonna laugh when you hear about this. So there is a company that comes through, and I'm sure they do this in various different cities. They come through and they're like, hey, Christmas is around the corner, and we have like a whole bunch of like different photography rooms that we've created, and some of it is like holiday themed. Anyways, it was a company that literally put up these rooms in the mall, and all the rooms were like, they weren't that good. I mean, they were kind of cheesy. They were very like holiday focused. And then I saw this room, and I was like, you know what? I think I might be able to make something happen. I ended up shooting my girl Chastity in that room. And in fact, if you scroll up, there's another room that I shot with her with like lines in it. It's like, it looks like it's a glow in the dark kind of vibe. I don't know if this is the one. Yeah, it's like a whole bunch of lines. It kind of gives you like belly vibes. But anyways, like I'll literally find stuff, maybe those temporary pop-up spots that do things for social media, just so people can come in and take photos. And if I see a room that looks good, I'll bring them in. So this was actually shot in the back of an alley, and I removed the alley and I put a sky in.
That's gorgeous. I love this guy. That's what I was going to ask. Like, is this guy real? Because this looks like, it looks Olympic. Like, it looks so gorgeous.
You saw the way it looked prior to this, be like, she's not in the same place.
That's why we love on our photo editors. Y'all get it done.
And look, you can't get this from somebody else. You got to know how to do this yourself. Like, I don't know. Like, this is one of those things where I was like, I'm very intentional when I shoot. So I knew for a fact when I shot her, I already knew, I was like, I'm going to swap the sky out. Like, it's going to be beautiful. Because when she was looking at the photo, she was like, girl, like, right. I don't know, for real. Yeah, for real. Like, it was trash. Like, I mean, the background was just hideous, and it really was in the back alley. And yeah, I still love this photo.
And you make it happen. Yeah, this is gorgeous. Laura Rose asked, who are some photographers or artists that inspire you right now?
Oh, sheesh. There was like so many. Honestly, one that I'm just so proud of is Loretta. Loretta is the one who shot Tyra Banks for the cover of Sports Illustrated. And it's always been like a dream of mine to shoot for Sports Illustrated. As you can see, I have tons of swimwear photography in my portfolio. Yeah. And it was just a beautiful thing that she shot Tyra. And I don't know how the connection was made or how that all came about, but just seeing a Black photographer shoot, you know, a Black queen, Tyra Banks, okay,
Really?
and for the cover, it was literally history in the making because from my understanding, that's never happened before. So that was very inspiring. It made me feel like I'm just like one step away to achieving those goals. But yeah, she's definitely top of my list. Man, there's so many of them. You know, I'm very much like an advocate of like the people out there that maybe haven't built a name for themselves. There's so many incredible artists that don't have a huge following at all, and they're doing incredible, and I'm rooting for them. So some of these people, I don't even know their names, but I'm constantly looking up like new artists, you know, and for me, the ones that have inspired me the most are the ones that I can relate to the most. I'm like, oh, they look, especially the women, the female photographers, Black female photographers, you know, those are the ones that I'm just like, yeah, goals. Like if they can do it, I can do it too. Because if it wasn't for them, like I wouldn't feel as worthy to be in this space. Again, that imposter syndrome, man, is so real. It's definitely a thing that I had to work really hard to overcome. Like I used to always have self doubt, and you really do have to speak things into existence and tell yourself that you are great and you are good enough.
That's so real. And thank you for saying that, because I feel like that's been another like through line or touch point we've had today, just about like how much, especially like young Black girls have to hold, and then we
Yeah.
grow into women and have to hold, and to really remind ourselves that like we are limitless and we have to believe
Yes.
that we are. And I feel like it shows up in your work really beautifully.
Yeah.
We have another question from Agreka that says, how do you feel about young starter photographers outreaching to publications or brands, and what do you recommend if so?
So you got to be strategic,
Yeah.
very intentional with every shoot that you do. Before you reach out to publications and brands, really evaluate your work and make sure you are representing what that brand or publication is already doing. So if you're reaching out to these places and your work doesn't really embody what they're already doing, then maybe rework like your your style, aesthetic, or maybe reach out to someone else that fits what you're currently doing. So that would be my number one thing when it comes to reaching out to people. Just make sure that your work is embodying what they're already doing. You know, I truly believe like if you got the talent, you know, sometimes they respond, and if they don't, that's okay. Um, you know, I'd be professional as possible. And also, it's all about who you know. So if you don't have to reach out to them directly, if you know someone that knows someone that works with them, maybe find a way to get that plug. I will say there has been so many times that a hairstylist, a makeup artist, or a wardrobe stylist has gotten me in the door for some incredible photo shoots.
Which, speaking of which, I feel like, I mean, we already brought up your educator page, which I want to bring back up. I feel like you just naturally teach. And that makes
Yeah,
me really, it makes me really happy, because it's like that sense I feel like I was talking about earlier, where it's like we don't gatekeep when it's
I'm
you know,
anti gatekeeping. Yeah,
exactly. And so this page in particular, I wanted to bring up because y'all can literally shop her kit. Like she has her camera essentials, protection essentials, lighting and light modifiers, and then the miscellaneous like packs. Like we got our tether cords,
all of it.
just everything. And so I feel like your website in itself is such a big resource. So please go check out her website. Like we even got the emergency kit. Like, come on.
Mhm. Oh
We
yeah.
have to have it. So this,
I'm a Virgo, so I'd be like over the top with
yeah,
my
you got it together.
it be too much sometimes. I'm like, why am I beating myself up? Like, I'm like, what type of lifesavers? Hold on.
Right?
Like, it's really not that serious. I tell it's really not that serious, Jess. Like, no one cares.
I feel it. I feel
No.
it. I'm gonna go back because Leslie Frimpong, sorry if I mispronounced, says, how do you recommend getting into the unit stills photography space? For those in the audience who don't know what unit stills is folks on set who take stills, so images of the set, of the wardrobe, of the actors or the models on set.
Would you say more like social media behind the scenes photographers?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's only until recently that I started seeing more of that being requested. More so, the people that are really good at creating reels and TikToks, those are the ones that are getting booked for that additional like role as like a photographer or a videographer. Um, so if you do get into that space doing more of that BTS work, make sure that you know how to put together some reels, some TikToks as well, not just stills. Like people want that video content still. So typically they will hire a videographer, they'll hire a photographer, and then they'll hire a social media person that can play the role of videographer and photographer on the level of like Instagram, TikTok, that kind of style. So
it's so much to think about sometimes. So we're also curious, another thing coming from the BWP team is, as you continue to build and expand your brand and services, how are you making time for yourself? I know, we got to be honest.
look, if y'all saw my nails yesterday, you'd be like, girl, like, have you just been like hitting them on rocks? Like, you know, I do what I can. I'm all about self-care, but I don't stay on it as much as I would like. But I definitely am an advocate of self-care, you know, taking time for yourselves. But like tonight, I gotta go to ATL tomorrow. My flight's at 6:30, but I'm probably gonna stay up until I have to go to my flight. Like I might get a little 2-hour nap. I just power through it sometimes. I'm not going to sit here and say I get all the sleep in the world. I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm this rock star in every aspect of my life. I have come to realize if I know that I'm doing the best that I can, that I'm happy. Like I try my best, and that's what it is. Like I am very much just aware that I cannot be great in every aspect of my life, and I'm okay with that. Like I used to be so hard on myself, like, oh my gosh, I'm out of town, I'm not with Navi, so I feel like I'm not being a good mom. You get that I don't know, feeling guilty as a mom. Like I'm not here for my child because I'm off to work. I'm like, wait, I'm off to work so I can put food on the table. Like, why am I beating myself up over this? So I realize as long as you know you're doing the best that you can, like, don't even trip. Like we all here on this earth, nobody is perfect. I've just come to realize that, okay, you know, I'm hustling and grinding now. So I don't have to do that much like when I get older. So I'm working as hard as I can now. So I can, you know, kick my feet up and do a little bit more traveling and relaxing. I know it's all gonna pay off. But I don't do a lot of sleeping. It is what it is. I'm constantly on hustle and grind, but this is what I will say to this is I have seen it pay off because I have been taking less jobs that are paying more. That part has been everything to me. So there has been days where like I can relax. I am able to take more trips. And it took a little bit of time for that to happen, but I am definitely seeing, you know, it all come to life now. All the things that I've been praying for, been manifesting, but I still know that there's more to come. So, yeah.
I'm so glad you said that because it's like you reading my mind, because that's exactly where I was going to go, where I'm like, I know a part of the process of growing in that way is beginning to say no. So thank you for touching on it, but how did you get there? Like what gave you confidence, or like what was maybe the first gig you were like, absolutely, you know, I can't do this?
Setting my boundaries and not settling for less. Okay. I even with my education courses, I was like, are people even going to pay me for this? Like, I legit questioned myself. I was like, should I just scale it back and like make it like affordable or inexpensive? Should I offer all these discounts? And I'm like, look, if I come to everyone as a discount photographer or educator, that's all they're going to expect from me. They're not even going to value who I am and what I'm offering. And so I realized if you offer value, then whatever you charge is worth it. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell yourself that whatever, if you really truly believe that you are doing the best you can as a photographer, if you are offering exceptional services, then don't ever self-doubt yourself on rates. If you really need to do some comparisons and see what the market's doing, by all means go for it. But look, the way I did it is like, look, I don't want to be Walmart. I want to be, Louboutin. Like I want to be, yeah. So
Yeah.
I saw what the market was doing. I was like, I'm gonna charge more than that. I don't care.
There you go. That's how you do it. Like you literally just
I'm
gotta
trying to go on these trips. You know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to be out the country. And the only way I can do that is realizing my worth and knowing my value. And again, I just tell myself, like, people want to pay me for my services. I'm worth it. I'm doing the best I can. Like all my clients have money. They're all rich. Like they're ready to do whatever.
No, for real.
I know that look, all my clients know that I work my ass off for them. I will do whatever I need to do to make it happen. So yeah, it's all been coming together. It's been great.
I love it. And I feel like, sometimes it sounds a little goofy or corny. Especially when we think about like Insecure and how Issa was looking in the mirror, like hyping herself up and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it works. Like it absolutely works. It puts you in the right mindset to get the thing that you need and to get the thing that you want ultimately.
Right.
I have one last question from Karen Spicer. She says, if you have photo selects you wouldn't put in your online portfolio, would you share it with your model? For example, that maybe the images are good, but not for like the best business marketing or something like that.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
So is this someone that you'd be testing with?
They did give an example of, for example, a test shoot or situations where the portfolio building for a new photographer. So maybe Karen is a new photographer.
So I'm actually really big on this, and especially since I used to model. I make sure that the image selection is actually very collaborative. And I realize the power of the people that you work with. If they like the images, they're going to post the images, they can promote it. The last thing I need to do is do a photo shoot where I pick out some images. The models doesn't feel happy with the way they look. And now she's like, man, she posted these whack lame images. Like, I just don't care for it. Now she's told 10 of her friends that she don't like the images that I put out. So I actually work with the model or the makeup artist or the hairstylist. Sometimes I'll get in a group chat like, hey guys, I narrowed down these photos. Which ones do you guys like? So I already narrowed down my top picks, and then I allow them to pick the ones that I like. That way we all get a say in it. And I'm okay with that now. I used to be like, no, I'm gonna pick the photos that I like and that's that. No, that has not done me anything. That has not done me any good, because then you find like, oh, they didn't post photos, they didn't promote, I would say make it as collaborative as possible, especially for those unpaid test shoots. And again, a suggestion, pick your favorites, then pass along your favorites to your team or to that model, and then have them get a say in the whole process.
That's beautiful. And then I think that helps you pick the ones for your portfolio, Karen.
Another thing I would also say when it comes to retouching, everybody's different on this, but don't be a stickler when it comes to retouching, for the simple fact that everyone has their own vision of how they see themselves, especially for these personal photo shoots, even like your paid personal photo shoots. I have some females, they want to be hooked all the way up. And I got some females that are like, keep me as natural as you possibly can. And I'm okay with that. So my retouching is very different. Like, it's a very case by case situation. I do not do the same retouching for every single person. I switch it up, and then the retouching that I know promotes my work the best, I might push that out more on my social media, on my website. You don't have to post everything you shoot,
Exactly.
But when it comes to delivering photos to your clients, the paying ones, those are the ones that are keep on coming back. Like, if you retouch them the way that they like, that could really go a long way. And of course, you want to make sure these images got to look amazing prior to the retouching process. But the retouching has a huge impact, especially with the day and age of everyone's doing these filters, face app look. Everyone does the little face app look. Yeah. But I will say that there's some people that want to go natural, some people that want to be hooked up. Just kind of, work with them on that.
And to add on top of that, in terms of like not using all the photos you take,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great method too to make sure you stay paid, especially if you're fully freelance. That you take the jobs that you might need to take in order to like get some money in
Yeah.
your pockets to do the shoots that you want to do. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean everybody has to know that like you shoot weddings sometimes, but you really want to be a beauty photographer.
Oh yeah,
You have
because yeah, no, there's definitely times where, we take these jobs that don't really promote what our focus is in the photography world. And like we take them so we can, bring that income in. But again, you don't have to promote it. You do not have to promote it. Another thing that I would say is that as far as accepting clients, I'm really just big on just overall communication. Yeah, we got our packages and whatnot for these personal clients, but just make sure that they understand the packages and the details, and then be open to customizing package prices. Because if people are really trying to stretch you and get more out of the shoot than what you're actually offering, then you need to adjust your rates to reflect that. So you are getting paid what you're worth. I do try to make it clear. I do, for every one of my clients that books me, I get on a call with them prior to just outline what we're doing for the shoot day and make sure that I'm on the same page with them prior to walking into the shoot. I never go into a shoot blind. I never just don't know what's going on. I'm always having a call with them prior. So
Whew, Jessy, you have dropped the gems on us today. I am so grateful. Like you've educated us so much. You got everybody in the chat so happy. Like,
oh,
girl, you got these hand claps. They're saying this is so smart. I like that approach. You got some finger snaps, like
good.
everything. So I'm so grateful to you for sharing your knowledge and your resources with us today.
Thank
Um,
you so
can
much.
you please let everybody know where they can find you, where they can purchase a course if they want to take one of your courses or want to meet up with you in Dallas?
Absolutely. So if you guys want, you can drop me a line, drop me a DM on Instagram. Jessy J Photo. It's JESSY J Photo. I try to answer all of my DMs, so please send me a message. If you're going to be in ATL this weekend, let me know. I'm
Hey,
definitely going to be there. And again, I'm based in Dallas. For all my Dallas people that are on this call, reach out to me, drop me a line. We'll keep you guys posted when we do this Dallas meetup. That's going to be a beautiful thing. But as far as like doing the one-on-one sessions, the beauty photography courses, again, JessyJPhotoEducation.com. It is on my Instagram. Like if you go to my links, it's all right there.
yeah,
And we do, again, I do one-on-one sessions, but then I also have my pre-recorded beauty photography blueprint that if you are on the other side of the world, you can still learn a little bit from me. I definitely have dropped like as much information as I possibly could in that course. I definitely put my blood, sweat, and tears in that. So I know you're going to learn a lot. The one-on-ones have been really powerful. I actually went into them again. Oh, they're going to learn a lot. Man, every single one has been a success. And like, I had no idea. Like, there are just so many new things that I'm learning. So it really does feel good that I am sharing some stuff with people that is new to them. They got their investment worth. The people that are booking the full 7-hour sessions are actually able to build their portfolio. They can bring a model in and build their portfolio and learn how to retouch their photos. So it's
woo, 7 hours. You are really putting in work.
yeah, 7 hours, and it went by fast. Actually, the last person I did a one-on-one with, they were like, "You need to do a 2 day because like there's just so much that I still need to learn from you." And I learned so much today, but there's more. I know there's more. But yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much for being a resource in that way. Like
Oh
that's
yeah, yeah.
that's
I realized that it's time. Like I've been in the game for a little bit. I believe in what I'm sharing. Like before I didn't, and now like man, I got so much to share, so much for you guys to learn. And I'm coming from the commercial photography world where it's very cutthroat.
yeah.
I'm going back and forth between here and LA like every other week, and the fact that I'm getting hired, you know, all the way in Dallas when they could have booked like a local LA photographer. It's
Yeah.
just a beautiful thing to seeing billboards in store, like literally, just stretching out across the store in the mall. It's it's so beautiful. I had no idea I could take it to that level.
Yeah.
So I'm really coming from a world where it is very buttoned up, and I'm teaching all the things that they expect from you, so you can walk into those spaces and really feel confident.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
We got the team dropping the links to find Jessy and to get her courses in the chat right now. Make sure you copy them. Oh, and then lastly, Felicia mentioned thanks for the pearls. I like that instead of
Ooh,
the
I love that. Yes, you're welcome.
but I just want to remind y'all one more time, like shout out to the sponsors who really made this happen for us. Getty Images, who are doing the portfolio reviews for us. Please go to blackwomenphotographers.com to sign up for our newsletters and to be a part of the collective, because we do stuff like this literally all the time. And like y'all gained so much from today only, and we still got a whole weekend left. So I feel like it's giving headliner, okay?
Yes.
Like Jessy ended this day so
I love
perfectly.
it. I love
Um,
it.
and then I also want to shout out to Adobe. Like I said, y'all, like y'all could win a free Adobe Creative Cloud suite, all of the apps, or you could also win the Adobe Photography Plan, which is Lightroom and Photoshop. So please just use the hashtag BWP Summit and tag us on Twitter, IG stories. Y'all know what to do. Like y'all have heard me talk about it all day. Y'all know what to do. So just go ahead, share your experience and how well it happened today. Thank you again, Jessy. I'm so grateful. We are all so grateful. Everybody in the chat is saying thank you.
Wow.
Thank
Thank
y'all
you.
so much for tuning in. We are gone. We're done for the day. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.